All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about maximizing your hook and your bowling game, standing left if you're a right-hander or standing right if you're a left-hander, and shaping that entire lane. Now, this is something that I think everyone wants to be able to hook the ball more. So let's give them some tips, Daniel. If someone comes to you and says, hey, I want to learn how to get more shape on the lane, what are you advising them?
Well, the first thing we have to do is make sure that we have a little bit more control on slowing down the ball, allowing it to hook, give it time. The majority of our amateur bowlers throw the ball a little on the harder side and with less revs than you. So having that big shape on the lane becomes difficult to do.
Right.
And trying to incorporate that or trying to do that while having that higher speed, lower rev rate potentially becomes difficult. So the first tip I give people is grab a bowling ball, go to the foul line, and literally don't do a no-step throw and allow the bowling ball to go all the way to the right gutter, back all the way left, maybe even to the 7-pin. Just watch that shape being created.
Okay, you want to try it?
Yeah, grab a ball.
All right, so we go to the foul line here.
You're gonna put your left foot forward, right foot back, right about the, on top of the left gutter.
Okay.
Yep. And you're just gonna give it one swing and let it go and try to make it hook right at board one.
So I'm just watching it go all the way out there and all the way back, okay? We're not trying to, we're trying to throw it slow here, right? We're just...
You're just trying to shape it.
Yeah, you're doing whatever you can to just shape it as much as...
Try to hook the entire lane.
Gotcha, okay.
Let's do another one.
Okay.
This time, try to get it all the way to board one, even if you fall in the gutter.
Yeah.
All we're gonna do is laugh anyway. Try to get it all the way to board one and have it hook from board one all the way to the 7-pin.
7-pin, okay.
Left foot forward, right foot back.
So for me, this means I just gotta get
Let
my
the ball...
hand... I gotta throw it slow and get my hand around it.
There you go.
Oh, I did that. That was terrible.
That's gonna be on the left gutter.
I like spun that one.
Yeah, but you're starting to see how you are now creating that shape.
Right.
So from there, I'd like to recommend let's do a one-step throw.
Okay.
To where on a one-step, you let the ball swing first. When the ball gets to the top of the swing, then you step and throw.
Okay.
When you're doing this at your bowling center and you're doing the one-step drills, you really don't want to work too hard at making sure you reach your normal swing height. Because in this case, it doesn't matter if you reach your normal swing height or not. We're not working on that.
Right.
We're working on throwing the ball slow and just shaping the whole lane.
Okay. So same idea, we're just
Same
adding...
idea, just with a one step. So you're gonna step about 2.5, 3 feet before the foul line, let the ball take a swing, and when you reach the back of the top of the backswing, take the step,
Okay,
the slide step.
we can do that. Shape the lane.
That was really good.
Yeah, no, I see that. I'm just trying to keep my tempo slow. You know, I think one thing when people try a one and a no step, like you said, they try to have the same exact backswing and they try to put the same effort into it when we're just having this small little backswing here and literally learning how to put no effort into it.
And learning how to get around it enough
Right.
for that shape of a hook to happen. If you would like to, and you wanna make this extra hard on yourself, we don't have one here, but for you viewers, if you wanna make it a little extra hard on yourself to challenge yourself, do it with a plastic ball.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because if you gear up on that or you're not getting your hand
Yep.
around it, it's never gonna hook.
As soon as you give it a little bit of that business, way too long.
Right.
It's never gonna hook.
Okay, once we get to the point where we're shaping it a little bit, we're starting with our no step, one step, maybe even a 2 or 3 or 4 step, like we're adding steps and shaping it. Once we get to our full approach, what are some things maybe to, let's start here. When we get left and we need to shape it, a lot of times we need to get our hand a little more around the bowling ball. We gotta create a little more axis rotation that's gonna make the ball hook a little bit more down lane. What's a way to do that for the folks at home when we're starting to shape the ball more?
So there are a couple of tricks that you can do. My favorite way to work on your release and getting around the ball and all those things is simply concentrating on your finish position at the follow through. Think about it. Your bowling swing is going to have, your release is going to have 3 parts to it, I like to call it. One is at the very top of the swing.
Yep.
Your hand has to be in the right spot. If we're considering that your hand has to be in a certain spot at the top of the swing so that you can release it well, then wouldn't that be part of the release? So I call it a 3-step process. Top of the swing, the actual release, and then the position of the follow through.
Okay.
If you start working on the position of the follow through, you can easily start making that position bleed into down here where you release the ball.
Okay.
So if you want to get around the ball a little bit better, a little bit more, try to make sure your thumb finishes at the 12 o'clock position and your pinky at the 6 o'clock position.
Okay.
The tip is don't go past
Don't
it.
go this way. Yeah, yeah.
Don't go this, because then instead of rolling the ball, you're starting to spin the ball.
Spin the ball, yeah.
Which is, it produces the opposite. You don't hook it.
The way I'm interpreting this is like, you ever watch Pete Weber? Just do that.
He was the
Just
master
try
at
to
starting
do,
that.
At creating rotation without spin. Okay, so I want to give that a try here. We're going to stand left, we're going to create more rotation, and I'm just going to work on my finish position with my hand, thumb up, pinky down. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can see that.
Well, you hooked it all right.
We hooked it. That hooked a lot. That was actually interesting because that's not exactly how I create rotation. I'm not great at recreating rotation, but I've never really tried that before. So when you create that more axis rotation, when the ball sees friction, it's gonna come off of it way harder. And you could see by that shot there, when it got to the spot, I mean, it went dead left. But that's what we need to do a lot of times when we're standing left and need to create more hook.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that you want to do when you're working on this for your game, so you do the no-step drill, try to hook the whole lane, right? Then you do the one-step drill. The 2 and 3-step drills are actually pretty hard for most people.
Yeah.
So what I would recommend is whether you do a 4 or a 5-step delivery. For example, in your case, you like to start in between the dots, between the front dots and the back dots. Let's say you're that kind of bowler too, where you like to start in between the dots. After you do the no step and the one step, maybe move your feet about 2 to 3 feet up on the approach and throw a shot at 50% power.
Yeah.
Back off your speed, back off your amount of power,
Yeah.
and throw it really, really slow so you can create that shape. From that point, start bringing it back.
Bag it up. I'm gonna actually try that because the way it's gonna feel, like I normally start back here, and when I throw it slower, I move about 6. What I found is I move about 6 inches up on the approach, which is my normal go-to, throw it slower, that's where I stand. However, to overemphasize this, in order to throw it slower, we just wanna not create as much potential energy, not as much momentum going to the line. So I'm gonna scoot up quite a bit here, even more than I normally do. This is gonna force me to take shorter steps and just stay slower with my momentum of my body overall. So I'm gonna kinda do what Daniel said. We're gonna move up, let's just move up quite a bit. And I still have to take 5 steps in this short amount of time, which means I just, yeah, okay. Oh yeah. That was cool because that is, you know, when we bowl tournaments, we have to throw it super slow all the time. I understand what that feel is in my game. However, that feel, I don't normally stand that close, but that's the feel of slowing everything down. It really overemphasized it to where I can pretty much take that feel and start making it a more, how would I say, like manageable part of my game. Like, all right, that's not really what I would do. I'd never stand this far up, but I understand what it feels like to slow the momentum down, keep everything nice and easy, and shape that whole lane.
Yeah, one of the advantages of moving up on the approach 2 to 3 feet is that it kind of sort of disconnects the steps with the swing a little bit.
It does, yeah.
Right? Because you're used to having X amount of swing with X amount of steps in X amount of space. And you do that all the time. Well, once you eliminate one of those factors, or both, and in this case, you're eliminating how big the steps are and how much space you take in those steps, then the swing can be separate from that. And you can start feeling what you need to feel to get around the ball. The release point is going to be a little longer because you're swinging slower, and it's going to allow you to feel what you need to feel in order to create that big shape that we're talking about in this video.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, doing that was almost like putting it all together. Starting at the front, slow hooking it, maybe working on the release a little bit to get your hand around it, and then once you kind of get used to that and the no step and one step, scooting way up in the approach, still making sure you take all your steps, it almost put it all together for me, and I'm like, okay, that's what it feels like to throw it that slow and make the ball shape the entire lane.
Especially for you guys out there that have a little bit of speed, you're gonna have a hard time hooking the ball as much as these guys do. So just remember, take the no step drill, move forward to the one step drill, then move forward with, let's just call it half approach.
Yeah.
And once you get to the half approach with your total number of steps being the same, then start inching back. This exercise should take you what I would imagine to be 4 to 6 games, depending on your ability, talent, and coordination and all of those factors, right? But it should be about a pretty nice 1.5 hour practice session at the bowling center. And at the end of it, you'll be able to hook it a little more.
Well, Coach, I think that was a great process that the folks at home watching this can use, utilize, and work towards to start shaping that entire lane.
It's a simple process. Basically, we have to take away all of the stuff you used to do, go up to the foul line, get used to throwing it slow enough, and then start building from there all the way back to your normal.
And I like that because, in a real quick note, speed is one thing that I think is super underutilized in the game of bowling, not at the higher levels, but at the beginning levels. It's also really hard to change your speed if you've never done it before. Like, for instance, I've told a lot of people, hey, let's throw it slower. They go to throw it slower, and it's like 0.2 miles an hour slower.
Correct.
So I think getting up to the approach, taking the steps out, seeing what it looks like to make your ball literally go, 5-6 miles an hour slower. That's huge to just see with the eye so you can feel it and understand what's happening.
Absolutely. And the advantage of it is that at the end of the day, when you throw the ball hard, learning to slow it down is very difficult. Or trying to slow it down in the middle of a tournament or league, it's very difficult. But it's always easy to speed up. For most of us, it's easier to speed up than to slow it down.
That's true. So I hope you guys enjoyed those tips. Let us know in the comments what you think about that process, if that helps with you. And if you guys are looking for more coaching, we have a membership, Brad and Kyle membership. This guy right here is an absolute rock star. So if you're interested, click the link in the description. We always have deals going on. Thank you for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.